women can fall into that bro marketing thing as well. And that's the thing with like masculine and feminine energy. We all have both. And it's about finding that balance. So you're not just the bro marketer who's coming off like a frat boy.
Well, hello, prosperity seekers, and welcome to another episode of The Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez, and you are in for a treat today because we are going to talk about canceling hustle culture and leading with feminine tactics in your business. So if you're not loving bro marketing, I have a totally lady boss woman on today, Hanna Hermanson, and I'm going to pick her brain on your behalf today. But before we dive into that, if you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure you're following the podcast on your favorite app. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, be sure to click that red subscribe button below and hit the notification bell so you are notified every time we drop another episode. And if you want to see what we're up to, head on over to allysonchavez.com. We got lots of really great free resources there for you. And if you want to join us in our next workshop, go to prosperityapproach.com/workshop. Okay, so I have to tell you about Hanna. She is absolutely amazing because she knows marketing isn't for everyone. And holy cow, don't we need her? Because I think it took me 8 years to realize that marketing was actually okay. So she founded Done For You Copywriting, which is a full service marketing company dedicated to coaches. And she believes that life, spiritual, and other professional coaches should remain in their zone of genius while an expert team takes care of getting their brand and message out there. Oh gosh, I wish I'd known you 10 years ago because man, I worked outside my zone of genius for so long, Hanna. But Hanna is a powerful catalyst for coaches who are looking to move their business to the next level without doubling their workload. Her motto is dream life is real life. And she's here today to talk about how she's helped hundreds of coaches to step into their wildest life and their business dreams. She is a digital nomad living in Merida, Mexico with her husband and her gorgeous, fun labradoodle. And I was actually on Hanna's podcast, Dream Life is Real Life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want my audience to meet you. So Hanna, thank you for being here today.
It's so good to be on this side of the mic, if you will.
Right? It's so fun. And we were talking before, Hanna was like, you must have gotten the memo. We're wearing the same color. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see that we've got very similar colors on. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize. I was just thinking, man, I love your tank top and I love the color. And then you're like, we're wearing the same color. We're wearing the same color. So look at that. We're totally connected. We're totally connected that way. So Hanna, tell me a little bit about like hustle culture and bro marketing. Like describe to us what that is first and foremost.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit woo-woo and a lot type A. So I want to answer this on both sides of the spectrum, like the woo factor, when I'm talking about bro marketing and masculine energy. Mm-hmm. And then also like what this means in like our day-to-day lives, like practically, right?
Yes. Yep.
So the first thing I want us to all just recognize is that we are going through some really big societal shifts. Okay. And this is my woo side, and my astrology friends can vouch for this, that like there's a paradigm shift that we are all living through right now in like the 2020s. Because 30 years ago, when the internet was born, we created a very structured and masculine work environment that our generation has lived in for these 30 years. And it's structured, it's regimented, it's about working too many hours, it's about climbing your way to the top of a corporate ladder. In sales and persuasion, it's been about like going for the jugular and making people feel like they need you, and you have to convince them and showcase all their pain points to get people to buy things. And we can see this at huge, corporations and how things have been built over the last 30 years. And also in even small interactions of how, we expect people to work and make decisions. Mm-hmm. The last 2 to 3 years, though, we've been forced into a paradigm shift. And I think that the outcomes are going to be beautiful, abundant, and yes, the future is female. Feminine energy is really taking the stage. And we're seeing people breaking free from those old models. Even just like working in an office building has changed because of the pandemic and because of people realizing they can have more flexible work-life schedules thanks to Zoom and other ways of working. And also, we're starting to change the narrative when it comes to sales and marketing. It's way more about community and connection and collaborations and bringing people into the possibility instead of focusing on their pain points. And so we as coaches, right on this brink, I personally was someone who started my business 7 years ago in a very masculine way. Hustle, convince, sell, okay? And now, if we're still in business, we have the opportunity to evolve into this more feminine thing, away from the bro marketing that maybe got us started out and worked in its time and place, but now start thinking about the feminine side that we're really starting to feel the pendulum swinging into, and focusing on community, connection, collaboration in how we approach everything we do.
I love that. I love that so much. So I think we have different ideas about bro marketing. Tell me what your idea or what bro marketing looks like to you. Maybe we do have the same idea of what bro marketing is like.
Yeah, I sort of hinted at it in my like general overview there, but to me, bro marketing is about going for the jugular, okay? Like going for it, being loud, being like salesy, right? How many of us have said like, I don't want to be salesy, because you know what that is when you feel like someone is like, cart is closing, act now, hurry up, go get it. You need this because I have a fancy car, and you want to be with me because I have a fancy car, and like all of this kind of like hustle culture. Okay. You have to hurry up, and there's urgency, and you have to take action with me because there's something wrong with you.
Okay. So here's how I look at hustle culture. So to me, hustle culture is all about scarcity.
Yeah.
Because hustle is hurry and hurry is rush, and all of those things are all about scarcity. So to me, like that totally speaks into that hustle culture. And in fact, I have a business coach who I have such great respect for, and she talks about seasons of hustle and seasons of grind. And I'm like, not if you do it right. But I didn't say that to her, but in fact, she inspired a whole podcast episode of how I don't believe in hustle and I don't believe in grind. But the bro marketing to me has a little bit of a different flavor to it than hustle marketing to me. And I want to hear your take on that as well. So to me, the bro marketing is like the boys club, where it's like slapping each other on the back and like, dude, we're going to go and crush this. So it kind of, to me, bro marketing has more of a jock feel to it than like a hustle and grind and like, you know, like the chest pounding frat brother. Kind of has a frat boy feel to me. And not a whole lot of appreciation when women want to get into the game. So kind of like, they don't really like that women are in the boys club. Like that is what bro marketing kind of feels like to me. But is yours more like interchangeable? The hustle culture and bro marketing is kind of you use them interchangeably? Yeah,
I think so. And I think this is like, that's a great example or a representation of what bro marketing looks like in day-to-day interactions. I think it totally can look like that. You know, we're insular, it's the boys club over here. Yet I also see a lot of women doing bro marketing, which is what you said. It's that scarcity, it's that urgency, it's that like cold DMing and just like hitting your numbers and being really about like the structure and the stick to the plan and grind it out. Like you said, like women can fall into that bro marketing thing as well. And that's the thing with like masculine and feminine energy. We all have both. And it's about finding that balance. So you're not just the bro marketer who's coming off like a frat boy.
Yeah. So how do we do that? Because like, so when people are like, you're going to get out there and crush it and kill it. And I'm like, I don't really like that, but I don't know I don't know another phrase that's just gather them all together, just go and gather and invite. And that actually does feel a whole lot better to me. But what I have found, and I've seen other business women in my industry that are like, no, we're not going to do urgency. We're not going to do like any of that. We're just going to say whatever you feel pulled to, go ahead and do it. And we're not going to tell them anything's wrong with them. And I agree with that too. Like, I don't want to tell people what's wrong with them because who am I to say what's wrong with anybody? But like there is a value of having a sense of urgency, because if people are like, oh, this will be around forever, then nobody feels a need to take any sort of action. So how do you balance those two things where you are leading with your feminine and you are using those feminine tactics, but then you're not like slipping backwards into the hustle marketing? So
it's that balance. Yeah.
So what do you do?
That balance is critical. So we've crafted what we call the feminine funnel. So it's feminine, but it is a funnel. And like we talked about before we got started, you know, like click funnels is very masculine, but we use it, but we use it in our way, right? I don't use click funnels anymore, but I'm just saying that we can use some of these tactics, some of these systems, some of these structures from the masculine side, but then pour femininity and energy all over it. So a feminine funnel breaks down into a system that you have to do and you have to show up for. I don't want this to be like, oh, I just have to sit and meditate and be in my feminine all day. Like there is still some system and structure to this.
Yes, thank you.
And so what we recommend in our feminine funnel is having a monthly open house and having automations supporting that every single month. So you're not grinding about it. And then having your ongoing marketing like social media and emails educate people to choose to come to your monthly event. So this is not a webinar. This is not a free training, which by the way, it's never a free training. We all know it's going to be a pitch, but this is a true open house or a demonstration of what it's like to work with you. And when you get all the pieces aligned from your outward marketing and the posts that you have to the communications you might have in DMs or an email to then showing up to this monthly event, you start to have people feel like it's their idea to come and work with you. So people love to buy stuff. People love to experience stuff, but they don't like to be sold to. So if we can think about bringing them into our funnel and like lead magnet, you could call it that, right? But we still want to have some sort of client journey outline so that they can go from random Instagram follower or new podcast listener to then have a really cohesive journey to follow in working with you. One that isn't like, we just met, let's get married and give me all your money or whatever. And this is the feminine approach that follows a system, but then we get to pour your energy into the content that builds this funnel. And our gauge, if we know that this is feminine or we're bringing it in to what you're doing, is how it feels. And if it feels hard and heavy, then it's masculine and maybe not what is going to resonate with you or your audience. Mm-hmm. But if it feels like exciting and this is so me and I'm eager to invite people to work with me, then you're starting to really play to your feminine strengths.
Okay. I love that. That's actually how I do business as well. Like if it's feeling heavy to me, I'm like, there's no way I can create in this because I did it that way for a very, very long time and didn't have the results and certainly didn't have the experience that I wanted along the way. So what are some other ways that you can like sprinkle your femininity all over it? Because here's where I've gotten tripped up in the past. So like, in the manner of like full transparency here, like I'm in that energy of like, I'm just going to invite and gather, and this is light and this is fun. And we're going to have a really great time. But I do have a specific outcome that I would love to see happen. Like I would love people to continue on their journey with me because I know just like you, what we have to offer is very valuable and it's worth the investment. And so like, I'm like, well, I have my idea for like who I would like to bring in and who I'd like to work with, like that number. And then what happens when you don't reach your number? Like where do you go to stay in the feminine and to stay like in that really great energy of collaboration and connection and community and all of that when you have your event? And sometimes it doesn't turn out the way that you would like for it to, because I mean, we're talking to female business owners today. We're not running a charity and we're not running a hobby. We want to spread our message, but we also need to feed our family. And this is the vehicle that we've chosen to feed our family. So how do you answer that? Your
business is an energetic game. So when a launch doesn't work out perfectly, yeah, let's go look at ways that we can improve what's happening, but let's also use that as a mirror for what's happening within ourselves. So where can we up our energetic game to up our business game? Right. So this is where mindset work and clearing and taking a look at, what might not be in alignment for you is first and foremost. And then in that practice, coming back to what we know is true about the universe and taking a bigger perspective on things. So you mentioned like feeding our families. Well, I just have a dog. I don't have kids right now, but I think about my business as like my baby. And if it doesn't sleep through the night, the first night, like I'm going to try again tomorrow. And if I'm working this business for 20 years, or I signed up for the lifetime of this business, then 1 month or one launch is truly like a learning opportunity to take a look at what worked, what didn't work, but then also recommit to the big vision, to where we're going, to playing the long game. Because you and I know, like, rejection is part of the game. Things not going well is part of the growth process. And so, yes, looking at how you can improve, but it really, like I said, business is an energetic game. And so often the way that launches go is a mirror to how life is, like how we are doing. Right. And so using that mirror is a powerful invitation to line back up and play the energetic game.
Thank you. I love that. When you're wanting to get out of like that scarcity with people, with whatever your offer might be, if you're wanting to use a feminine tactic of community and inclusiveness and connection and all of that, how do you do that when you have an offer? Do you do something different from like, you've only got 73 minutes left and then the cart closes? Like, what do you do?
I think about the abundance of marketers, offers, courses, opportunities. And I truly believe that like my people are my people and meant for me. And it's almost a gift if someone is like, you know what, the way that you write is like not my vibe. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad thank you. Let me see if there's someone who's more professional, because the way I write is very casual. And so thinking about the abundance of, if I'm not right for you, I truly want to help you connect with the right people, and that ripple effect and the referrals that can come when you start to think about like, I'm meant for my people. And if it's not the right time and place for you, totally understand. But if it is the right time and place for you, if this is resonating, if there's something in you that's like, I might need to talk to Hanna, that is how I build this sort of connection that inspires people to make that empowered decision to feel like, yes, she is my person, because I clearly state I'm not for everyone. And there's that kind of, it's not urgency, but it's that creating clarity for people to know if it is their time to take action and work with me, or it's not, and I don't need to convince.
So do you use things like bonuses or things like limiters that are that's structure, that's a strategy for that. Do you use any of that when you do your offers to, I don't know, entice or?
In my business? No. We have clients who will do bonuses at the end of their like open houses or their events. They'll have like limited opening time for their call booking. But in my business, we have an application that's open all of the time, and people have to go through the process to make sure that it really is the right time. And we find that people, when they feel like it's their idea, again, like they're reaching out, they're going through it, they're even have to sell me in the application process. One of our questions is like, sell me on this idea. Like, why are you the right person to work with us now? That's how we have it set up.
Do you ever feel tempted with all of like the marketing that you've learned and the marketing that you continue to see that some really works really well? Do you ever feel tempted to be like, gosh, maybe I should offer a bonus, or maybe I should offer a, XYZ? Are you ever tempted to fall back into that?
I'm a visionary. I create stuff, right? I always have a million ideas. So this just happened a couple of months ago where we had this idea to start, selling some of the templates that we use internally with clients, like writing your homepage, writing your email sequence. We've been building that as our team and using it internally. And we thought we could sell those as templates. So I even went to a weekend event with one of my teammates, virtually, and we're in this event, and it was so much work. And there was this whole idea, like this whole launch idea and all these offers you should make and how you should jazz up your templates. And I had a gut feeling in like day 2 of this of like, oh, this is a shiny object. I took it months of work. I brought a team member into it. We're at an event. And then I just had to remember again that this is another shiny object. And, great, we can file those things away for the future. But I've really found that like staying in my zone of genius, doing the writing for people, not trying to make up like a course and templates and like, whoa. I was out of my zone of genius. I needed to come back to the like bread and butter, the intimate one-on-one strategy and done for you copywriting that we do. And I'll say that getting more familiar with my intuition and that gut feeling has been really helpful, because when I was in my head with my business, I would be tempted to like run a promo, do a 5-day challenge. Okay. And I would just like do it and I wouldn't see as great of results. And then that's when I started being like, oh, it didn't feel right. Oh yeah. I just like pushed through a lot of like signs from the universe that I was just distracting myself. So yes. And building a relationship with my intuition has helped me find them more quickly when I get tempted to, go down a new path. But I'll also say that marketing is a huge experiment. So like I said, I've done 5-day challenges. I've offered bonuses. I'm always like offering clients to test it out and do that. We're just in a place right now that I really like the results that the current experiment is bringing with us. And, kind of staying in our lane has been, focusing on what works.
Oh, I love that. Will you share with us one of the things that you've done to get really connected to your intuition?
Well, this is an interesting one. I started working with a human design coach. So human design, I don't know how familiar you are.
I've heard of it, but I'm not really familiar with it. So will you explain?
Yeah, it's you put in your birth time, date, and you get your chart, like your blueprint, and it brings together astrology and like 2 other Chinese sciences, ancient sciences. And it gives you your blueprint for things like how you make decisions, how you process emotions, what your unique gifts are. And I love that kind of stuff. Okay. I was a psychology major, like Enneagram, Strengths Finder. Like I eat up all of those kind of personality tests. I've been using things like that in my business. Like all of my team has to go through Colby and Strengths Finder for me to like understand how they're really going to thrive in our company. But so then when I found human design, I started to really understand how I thrive. And it started giving me these permissions to trust the things like my gift of Midas touch, where I don't have to work that hard. Things just kind of turn to gold. And then I was like, oh, that's actually true. Like I'm seeing how that's happening with some projects. And so working with this coach for the last several months and bringing it in the experiment of human design into my life and starting to know what's a yes in my body and what's a no in my body, because I have sacral authority. It's like a whole science that but
that's awesome.
Finding that set of tools has really helped me bring the, practice in real life. I have this opportunity. How does it land in my stomach? Oh, maybe I should trust that. Yeah.
That is super cool. That makes me want to jump down a rabbit hole of intuition. I need to, because somebody needs to hear this. How does a yes feel in your body and how does a no feel in your body? Because here's where I got tripped up for years and where I still have to be really diligent from time to time as I'm in my head. And then I'm analyzing instead of being connected to my body.
Same.
And so what do you do? Like, how does it feel? How does a yes feel like? And what does a no feel like? And is there anything that you have to do to like really open yourself up to receive that answer?
Yeah. So when I first started learning this, I did the classic muscle testing where you ground yourself and you see if you're a yes, you kind of check your yes. Like my name is Hanna, and I would roll onto the balls of my feet. Yeah, that's a yes. And then if I would say my name is Philip, I would like roll back. And I started just testing that. And that was a really great gauge for me. It even helped me like identify some foods I should stop eating because I wasn't feeling good. Like that is a really powerful muscle testing exercise. And what I found through that is that there is like a pull in me, like a yes, like that's a yes. Like I can feel almost like I'm being pulled forward when things are a yes. And I think that is related to the kind of ball of my feet idea. And a no is heavy. And no's are harder for me to understand because when I'm a go-getter. If it's a yes, it is a yes.
Yes, me too.
Yes. If it's a yes, I'm getting pulled forward and I'm doing the things. A no is harder for me. And it usually takes more time for me to really decipher if it's a no. But it does feel heavy in my body. And like I'm being asked to either stay put or sit down or slow down. Sometimes I can feel it on my chest. Like, it's just like, I'm just like, oh, like there's an extra weight or there's an extra tension or there's some tight heaviness in my body and it moves around. So that's why it's kind of like a pesky thing.
Oh,
with what's a no. And that's what it's coming out to be these days. We'll see how it evolves.
Oh, dang. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you. I'm really asking these questions for me, but I also know if I'm asking them, somebody else is curious about them as well. So Hanna, this has been so much fun. And I know people are going to be like, how do I connect with her? And I know you've got something super cool for us that you're going to share, but I want you to share your podcast. Like how can people find you?
Yes. Okay. So you can find me if you type in Dream Life is Real Life. It'll be a positive affirmation for you to get closer to that prosperity and the dream life that you have for yourself. And on the website, you'll also find the podcast, which is also called the Dream Life is Real Life podcast. Allyson has been over there. And then as far as working together or like getting some more support on your marketing, I do want to offer a free gift. So we talked about one of the pieces of this feminine funnel being your ongoing like social media and emailing and what you're kind of posting regularly. And it really is the fuel to the funnel, right? Having some consistency in your brand is really helpful. Mm-hmm. So we put together one of our templates for free over at dreamlifeisreallife.com/freebie. You can get 3 standout social media posts that you can copy, paste, plug, and play that have been proven to land coaching clients.
Dang, that is awesome. I'm totally going to get that. I really am. I'm going to do that right after this because.
Okay, perfect. And then we can be email buddies too.
Yes.
You'll get some additional info. And one of my goals is to be the bright spot in your inbox. And so I just delight when people join the email list because I know I get to keep dropping sunshine and embarrassing stories and also marketing tactics to you throughout the week.
Awesome. I love that so much. Well, the link is in the show notes for those of you who are watching this online. You can just click on that link, but will you tell us the link one more time for the freebie for those who are listening?
dreamlifeisreallife.com/freebie.
There we go. Awesome. Go grab that. Head on over to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast. You can get to know Hanna a little bit better. And this has just been such a fun conversation. Thank you again for being here with me. And all of you here that either tuned in to the audio or the video, thank you for joining us for another episode. And remember, prosperity becomes you.